Hello and welcome to SureenaSpeaks, and today I wanted to focus this on those of you who yes are doing your pre-reg exam, but also those of you who might be in other courses or other situations where you're working throughout the day and then you're coming home and having to study. And as I mentioned it before, it really is so difficult. And having been in that position myself, I can completely empathize with that. Because you're just constantly mentally stimulated. You're mentally stimulated whilst you're at work, you're coming home and having to carry on being mentally stimulated. And I think, for example, with pre-reg, no one tells you how tired and how exhausting a year it's going to be. No one pre-warns you about that. And so you go in there thinking, yeah, this is going to be a great year. It's going to be good, going to be earning some money. I can visit my friends after work. No, because socializing just goes out the window because there's just so much to cover. And even for those of you who are doing accountancy or other degrees out there or other courses out there who are in the same position, as I mentioned, I can completely empathize with how hard that is. But what you have to remember and what you have to keep in mind is that you've got this far. And I think a lot of the time we forget actually how far we've come because all we're focused on is how far yet we have to go. And for those of you sitting your pre-reg exam, you're about nearly halfway there. And that's a big achievement in itself, and don't forget that. And I know when I started off with my pre-reg, I knew nothing, and for like a good 3 months it was just me trying to figure out where everything is and just get used to the whole running of the pharmacy, what my day-to-day activities were. And then I felt like once I got past that 3-month period and I got into more of a routine of things, actually things became a bit more second nature and it became a bit more easier being able to handle patient complaints, queries, etc. And hopefully you'll feel like that period now too. And as you keep progressing and as you keep learning, I'm sure your confidence will be growing as well. And that's a massive thing. So don't forget actually what you were like when you started and now see what you're like now, and just see that journey of growth. Even if it's small growth, it will still be a substantial, significant amount. And then, like I said, just see where you're going to end up in a few months' time and how much more you're going to grow then. In all honesty, when I was doing my pre-reg, I thought I would not have the confidence to then go out and locuming because I thought, well, how can I be a pharmacist? I don't know anything. And you forget that it's only, the beginning of the year. Like, you've still got so many more months to go for you to increase your knowledge, to learn, to develop. And you will get there. And even if you have failed beforehand, we've all failed at some point beforehand, but I truly believe that with failure, it gives you that chance to actually become courageous and to grow. And even if you failed last time and say you failed a time after that, I'm sure in between those failures, actually you've progressed quite a bit. It's just that because we see that word failure or we see that word failed, we don't even realise actually between that time I've progressed a lot and I still have a lot more progressing to do. I know that if you do have to retake an exam, it brings up a lot of anxiety, it brings up a lot of worry. I think your perception of things is so important, and if you perceive that beforehand it was a mock, just treat everything else that you've done beforehand as a mock, and now you're going into this fresh and brand new thing that, okay, I've sat that exam before. I know what the format is going to be like. I know what the styles of questions are like. You have the upper hand in that sense. So use that upper hand, use that advantage to your strength, and use that to then motivate you to light that fire in you to think, okay, I didn't pass it that first or second time round. I don't want to feel like how I did then. I don't want to be in that position then. What can I do to then make sure I don't get into that position? What revision styles did I do last time that maybe I should do differently this time around? And actually, with a lot of the cases, with exams in general, it's not that you weren't prepared enough. It's not that you didn't know the answers. Like a lot of the time, it's just sometimes it's just not your day, and sometimes that worry and that panic sets in and that consumes us, and that self-doubt comes creeping in, and a lot of the time that's why then we get that mental block and we can't answer the questions. But actually the knowledge is there, and self-belief goes such a long way. You need to believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities, believe in your abilities, and that you can do this. And just because you haven't passed it beforehand, that doesn't mean you're not going to pass it this time round. And even if you don't pass it, I think sometimes we actually we take things and we extrapolate them, and we actually forget the core of everything. It is just an exam. And I know it's easier said, because some of you will be thinking, no, it's not just an exam, it's an opportunity to open more doors for me and for me to go and do X, Y, and Z, and it's part of my 5-year plan or whatever else. But actually, even say with the pre-reg exam, say you don't pass all 3 attempts, keep in mind that no one can take away your MPharm degree from you, and that holds a lot of power. And with that MPharm degree, there are so many things you can do. We talk about that you can go into industry. I think we forget how big industry is and how many different avenues and channels there are. There's medical writing, there's research and development, there's graduate schemes, there's so many different roads and avenues and opportunities that I can provide. And you will be able to do them because you have that MPharm degree. No one's going to take that away from you. So even if you don't end up passing all 3 attempts, keep in mind that, okay, yeah, it will be a disappointing and upsetting time, but you will get over it, and that's not to say you won't be an absolute great success. Surround yourself with supportive people, because that massively helps, having that support network. With pharmacy in particular, everyone knows everyone in pharmacy by the end, and can make those connections, make those networks, help each other out, and having that support around you is so vital. I was really lucky in my pre-reg in that I had such amazing pre-reg friends who really helped me, support me get through the exam, and I hope that I did that for them as well. And if it wasn't for those study sessions that we met up and we helped each other out with, who knows what would have happened. I think one of the biggest key pieces of advice I can give, especially with you pharmacy students and your pre-reg students out there, is learn as much as you can on the job. Make your revision efficient by learning as much as you can by actually doing. Read and learn the labels, the dispensing labels whenever you're handing out medication. Try and think to yourself, okay, if I give this medication out, and what counselling points do I need to give? What major interactions are associated with it? Can this be taken with grapefruit juice? Should the person avoid cranberry juice? Little things like that. It will honestly make your revision so much more efficient and so much more compactable as well, because when you're coming home and revising, you're not going to have to refocus on that areas. You can actually focus on areas that maybe you're not too sure of, or areas that you need to brush up on. And remember, there is still time. And it's not always about how much time you have, it's how you utilize that time and what you do with that time. You could have a whole day and you could spend it procrastinating watching Netflix, or you could have an hour and you could spend it so productively and actually learning a lot from that 1 hour. So it's not always about how much time you have, it's about what you do with that time and how you utilize that time. So I hope this video can make you see that actually by focusing, utilizing my time, and actually using that powerful tool of self-belief, that can really get you far in life and help you achieve your end goal. I hope you liked this video. If you have, why not give us a like, share, subscribe, visit our Facebook page. Just remember, you can do this. You just have to have that bit of belief in yourself.